So we have started with the module 4 and we have started discussing about the embedded system design concepts, right? So basically whenever like we want to design a particular embedded system, okay, so if you want to design an embedded system, what all things we need to take care while designing a particular embedded system? Okay, so we have already discussed about the characteristics of embedded system, quality attributes of embedded system, right? So now let's assume that we have to design an embedded system. Okay, so I'll take an example of a coffee vending machine. Okay, so we have to design a coffee vending machine. So if from where we can start the thinking of designing a coffee vending machine, right? So first we need to take care of the characteristics, like what characteristics my machine will have, like that all things has to be noted down first, right? That has to be documented first. So what are the characteristics it will be having, what are the quality attributes it will be having, right? So these things has to be noted down first, because we need to decide whether the coffee vending machine, so obviously it has to be application specific, right? So it has to be reactive, right? If I press a button, then it should deliver the coffee, right? That way, right? Even in particular time limit, it should uh, give that particular coffee, right? It has to be like the size of that, weight of that, we need to take care, right? With that we need to decide initially itself. Even the power concerns, that has to be taken care initially first, right? So we'll decide that first. Then obviously about the quality attributes, we'll decide like how it will work, what all quality attributes it should have, right? So the response, the throughput, how much coffee it will be able to generate in 1 hour, like if I'm continuously using it, right? What will be the capacity of that, how much maintenance it will require, how much security it will require, right? So how the safety issues can be taken care. So all these things has to be first documented. Based on that, we will start designing our particular embedded system, right? So again with this, there are some issues which will be there whenever we are deciding about the hardware and software co-design for our embedded system, right? So the functional issues in hardware and software co-design. So the first one is selecting the models. So if we want to select a particular model, so the models will be selected based on what characteristics we need in our particular embedded system. So in hardware software co-design models are used for capturing and describing the system characteristics. A model is a formal system consisting of objects and composition rules. It is hard to make a decision on which model should be followed in a particular system design. So there are so many models available. So which one we have to choose for designing our particular embedded system? That will be the first issue. Okay. Then the second one is selecting the architecture. So a model only captures the system characteristics and does not provide information on how a system can be manufactured. So for this, like we need to select a particular architecture for this. So the architecture specifies how a system is going to be implemented in terms of number and types of different components and the interconnection among them. Okay, so how this component are going to interconnect with each other, that is defined by the architecture. So which architecture? There are so many architectures available, like a controller architecture, data path architecture, complex instruction set architecture, reduced instruction set architecture. Okay, so many architectures are there. So multiple instruction, multiple data. So which one has to be chosen for particular design of our particular embedded system? So that is another issue. Okay, so this will be a difficult task to choose one among all. Okay, then the next issue is selecting a language. A programming language captures a computational model and maps it into architecture. Okay, so obviously programming language will be needed to write the software for that particular embedded system. Okay, so there can be like there is no hard and fast rule for choosing a particular language. So we can go with like a C++, Java for a software implementation. The same as for hardware implementation, there are like VSDL, System C, or Verilog that can be used. So on the other hand, a single language can be used for capturing a variety of models. So again, choosing a language is again a different task, okay, different issue, that which language shall we go for designing our embedded system. Then the next one is partitioning the system requirements into hardware and software. So far we have discussed about the model for capturing the system requirements and the architecture for implementing the system, right? So based on the characteristics we are choosing a model, like then architecture, okay, then we are choosing which language. So for an from an implementation perspective, it may be possible to implement the system requirements in either a hardware or a software. Like sometimes we can implement a particular part using hardware, or rather than using a hardware we can just write a code for that particular thing, and whatever the previous hardware we were having, we can implement that using that also. Okay, so this is another issue, whether to go for that particular part of the system as a complete software, or rather than that shall we go for an hardware part. Okay, so these are the different issues, fundamental issues in hardware and software co-design. About computational models in embedded design. So the first model which we are going to discuss is data flow graph model or data flow diagram model. Okay, so the data flow graph model translates the data processing requirements into a data flow graph. So whatever the data processing requirements are there, that will be represented in the form of a data flow graph. It is a data driven model in which the program execution is determined by data. So many of the embedded systems are like that. Sorry, where uh, they are like a data driven. So based on the data, they have to take some actions. So some input, some data will be the input, and from that data they will be doing some operations on that data, and based on the result they will be taking some actions. So that we can call as a data driven. Okay, so this model emphasizes on the data and operations on the data, which transforms the input data to the output data. So basically it is focusing on the operations on the data, and based on that operation they will be taking some actions. So as a data flow graph is a visual model in which the operations on the data is represented using a block as a circle, and a data flow is represented using arrows. Okay, so an inward arrow is showing that the data is coming as an input, and the outward arrow is showing it as going as our data is going as a output. Okay, now let's see an example. So suppose one of the functions in our application contains a computational requirement like x is equal to a plus b and y is equal to x minus c. Okay, and I want to implement this using a data flow model. So how we can implement this? Now you can observe here. So the first one is x is equal to a plus b. So a plus b should give me x, right? So I have this a, this b, and this data flow node will add this a with b and give me the result as x. Okay, and the next one is required is y is equal to x minus c. So x I have this c, then x minus c, this node will do the subtraction and will give me the result as a y. So this requirement I have represented in a data flow graph. Now the embedded system applications which are computational intensive and data driven are modeled using a data flow graph model. So as I say, like which are the applications where mostly are computational intensive and data driven, that can be modeled using a data flow graph. Like digital signal processing application mostly based on the data, so they can be implemented using data flow graph model. In a data flow graph model, the data path is the data flow path from the input to output. So that's how the data will flow from input side to the output side. A data flow graph model is said to be a cyclic data flow graph model if it doesn't contain multiple values for the input variable and multiple output values for a given set of input. So if it is not having multiple values, like again first some value, then again next time different values, so if it is coming always same, then it is we are calling as a acyclic, or if it is performing only once, then we are calling it as a acyclic. But if the model where we are giving some feedback from the output to the input and the events is happening again and again with some different values, then that kind of thing we are calling as a non-acyclic inputs or non-acyclic data flow models. Okay, so data flow graph models translate the program as a single sequential process execution. So most of the time with this data flow graph, that has to be executed sequentially, because this data, the next data will be depend on the previous data, or the previous data will be depend on the data which is previous to that, like that will be dependency in that. So it has to be happened in a sequential manner. So this data flow graph model will translate that program in a single sequence process execution. Now the next model is a control data flow graph model, or a control data flow diagram. So first one we have seen is a data flow graph. Now here it is a control data flow graph. Now we have seen a data flow graph model in a data driven model is a data driven model in which the execution is controlled by data and it doesn't involve any control operations, right? So data flow graph doesn't have any control operations, but now it is a controlled data flow graph. The controlled data flow graph model is used for modeling application involving some conditional program execution. So based on some conditions, now it will decide what has to be done. Okay, so the control data flow graph models contains both data operations and control operations. So basically in data flow graph there was only data operations. Here it is control operations also. The control data flow graph uses data flow graph as element and conditional as decision maker. So there will be some conditions, based on that it will take some decisions. So that's why we are saying now it is a controlled data flow graph model. So controlled data flow graph contains both data flow node and a decision node. Okay, it will have now two, data flow node and a decision node, whereas in data flow graph we were having only a data flow nodes, right? So let's see an example of a control data flow graph model. So if we have this particular requirement, like if flag is 1, we have to do x is equal to a plus b, else we have to go for y is equal to a minus b. Okay, so you can see here this particular thing now we have as a diamond shape, which is nothing but a control node we have now, and this we know that these circles are nothing but a data flow nodes. So the first is a control node where we are having a control signal. If the flag is 1, so it will check whether the flag is 1 or not. So if the flag is 1, that if it is true, then it is doing a plus b, and we are getting the output as a x. Okay, and that will be given at this particular point. And if this particular flag is not 1, then it is doing a minus b, this second data flow node, and that output is nothing but y. Now that output is nothing but y. So this is what it is now, controlled data flow model. So the control node is represented by a diamond block, which is the decision making element, and in the normal flowchart based design, so here now there will be some decision based design. So that's why we are saying as now control data flow model. So control data flow model or control data flow graph translate the requirement which is modeled to a concurrent process model. The decision on which process is to be executed is determined by the control node. So this control node is going to take a decision, and based on that the execution will happen. Okay, so this is what is now controlled